The only thing that makes sense is to only do and believe that which moves you towards your goals. So even if it were true that you are worth less, it doesn't help you get towards your goal to believe that. And if we're only going to do that which moves us towards our goals, then immediately when we begin thinking that we're worth less, we don't have to convince ourselves that it isn't true. We only need to realize it doesn't move us towards our goals. And since we only do that which moves us towards our goals, we're going to pattern interrupt immediately the second we start playing that loop, because we've got to break the habit of thinking that about ourselves. So we're going to pattern interrupt that. We don't allow ourselves to think that anymore. It's done. It's just not an effective strategy. As long as your goal is exciting and honorable, why would you ever want to do something that holds you back? If you're doing something that elevates yourself and other people, why would you want to stop yourself from doing that, even if you deserve to be punished or whatever it is that you think about yourself because of what happened in the past? So if loving yourself is going to move you towards your goals, then we're going to do it, even if you don't think that you're worth it. If pushing to grow and get better is going to move you towards your goals, then we're going to do it, even if it doesn't feel like you deserve it.
At the end of the day, I do think life is really a single-player game. It's all going on in your head. Reality is neutral. Reality has no judgments. To a tree, there's no concept of right or wrong or good or bad, right? You're born, you have a whole set of sensory experiences and stimulations and lights and colors and sounds, and then you die.
Yeah.
And how you choose to interpret that is up to you. You do have that choice.
Like, I don't think people should try to silence the negative voice in their head, but I also don't think they should succumb to it. I think you should listen to the negativity because it will call out shit that's real, right? You're not working hard enough. You're not good at this. Yeah, you're absolutely right. But if I let that affect how I feel about myself, now it becomes self-destructive. So that voice has got to be like that voice of clarity. It's got to be the, oh shit, okay, that's the thing I need to work on. Got it.
It's got to be a counselor, not a jailer.
You're setting your expectations too high. You're triggering this sense of inadequacy in yourself. So I will tell you that kicking yourself in the ass is super powerful. But my rule is I never do anything that diminishes my sense of self. Why? Because it actually makes you less effective. And effectiveness at moving towards my goal is the barometer by which I judge whether something was a success or not. And if I've made a decision and it moves me away from my goals because it's making me feel badly about myself, because I've set a standard that's too high, I'm nitpicking myself to death, now I'm getting worse, that's moving me away from my goal. And so I'm not going to do that. I don't allow that in my life. I don't allow it in my life. I do not allow myself to do things that diminish my sense of self and move me backwards. So when I feel it happening, I'm like, hey, even if it's true, even if I am the biggest loser that ever walked this earth, reinforcing that in myself will make me capable of less. Therefore, I don't do it. I have a bright line in my life that says I only do and believe that which moves me towards my goals.
When we grow up, right, it's all this stuff happening to you in your life. And some of it you're processing, some of it you're absorbing, and some of it you should probably think a little bit more about and work through, but you don't. You don't have time. So it gets buried in you, and it's all these preferences and judgments and unresolved situations and issues. And it's like your email inbox. It's just piling up, email after email after email that's not answered, going back 10, 20, 30, 40 years. The most important relationship you have is with yourself. It's with this voice in your head that is constantly rattling every waking hour. It's this crazy roommate living inside your mind who's always chattering, never shuts up. And you can't control these thoughts. They just come up out of you don't even know where. That quality of your thoughts, those conversations you're having in your head all the time, that is your world. That is the world you live in. That's the worldview you have. That's the lenses you see through. And that's going to determine the quality of your life more than anything else. And if you want to see what the quality of your life actually is, put down the drink, put down the computer, put down the smartphone, put down the book, put down the headphones. Just sit by yourself doing nothing. And then you will know what the quality of your life actually is, because that's what you're always running away from. That's why people, when they try to meditate, they sit down like, I hate it. I can't sit still. Why? Because your mind is eating you alive. Your life is unexamined. Your mind is running in loops over things that it has not resolved. And because they're not resolved, when you run around in your normal life, it's not those problems have gone away. It's that they're just there. They're there, but they're provoking anxiety. And what you think of as the anxiety that's kind of consuming you, and you can't identify the source, that's just the tip of an iceberg poking out from underneath the water. And underneath this giant pile of garbage, of decisions that were made without too much thought, of situations that you're in that you haven't resolved, that you need to resolve, of problems that you have or desires that you have that have gone unmet or unmanifested, or contradictions that you're living in, or ways that which you feel trapped. And then when you sit down to meditate, those emails start coming back at you. Hey, what about this issue? What about that issue? Have you solved this? Did you think about that? You have regrets there? You have issues there? And that gets scary. People don't want to do that. It's like, it's not working. I can't clear my mind. I better get up and not do this. But really what's happening is it's self-therapy. It's just that instead of paying a therapist to sit there and listen to you, you're listening to yourself. And you just have to sit there as those emails go through one by one. You work through each of them until you get to the magical inbox 0. And there comes a day when you sit down, you realize the only things you're thinking about are things that happened yesterday, because you've processed everything else. Not necessarily even resolved it, but at least listen to yourself. Watch your mind. Watch your mind all day long. Watch what it does. Not judge it, not try to control it, but you can meditate 24/7. Meditation is just basically watching your own thoughts like you would watch anything else in the outside world, and say, why am I having that thought? Does that serve me anymore? Is that conditioning from when I was 10 years old? If you say something to me, I'm always going to listen to it with a slightly critical filter because you're external to me. Applying that same filter to my own thoughts gives me a level of peace and distance from them, and the ability to see through my own BS, which I think makes my life better.